And we are back. This is Token Chef. We're going to check out a video from Constellation DAG. This is, to me, the most bullish utility token in the space right now. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some reasons why I'm even more freaking bullish on this token. So let's check out this interview from Genfinity with Benjamin Dingles. Sorry, Benjamin Diggles, one of the co-founders of Constellation Network. Let's check this thing out.
What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Super excited to be at Consensus 2024. Equally excited to be with the man, the myth, the legend, Benjamin Diggles, co-founder of Constellation. Benjamin, we've seen a lot of kind of evolution of this space and the technology over the past couple of years. I think one of the things that sticks out to me when I look into what you guys have built within the Constellation ecosystem is the work that I know you personally have been doing with federal, the government, the DoD. Can you maybe...
Benjamin is a freaking beast and has been going for years, working with the federal government, DoD, trying to write legislation, trying to inform people in the government how to communicate, how to speak about, and help to understand distributed ledger technology overall, and then DAG as well. So, like, he's been doing some of the most boring work you could possibly be doing for years on end. And I don't know another token or L1 or network that has a person like this doing that work. If you do, let me know, because I'll research it and I'll probably freaking buy the token. But like when I first heard about this guy, you know, he kind of has bro energy, but I think he's a beast. I mean, he's been going for years.
Walk us through that evolution a little bit. I mean, have you seen a shift in like education and knowledge from government entities looking to leverage this technology, and how does Constellation play a role in that?
Yeah, hey, really appreciate the intro. It's great to be here. And yeah, I mean, so I went to my first crypto conference about 6 years ago, and to see where it's come from there to today, a lot of stuff has changed, but a lot of stuff hasn't. And that's very interesting. And as I'm sure you've noticed, there's not really anything here that's pointing to a federal presence when it comes to Web3, which is okay. I understand that. I mean, a lot of people look at like this industry as us versus them, the regulators, and you know the government is sort of the boogeyman in this. We were fortunate enough 5 years ago to.
This interview is from 8 months ago, so take that, understand that period. We're not in the same conversation where Trump has already won and we're already pro crypto in that space. But Benjamin has been focused on federal for years, and everyone's been focused on Web3 and just trading meme coins and trading shit coins. And you know, to have someone on the other side of the aisle in terms of like, you know, not just retail, now actually in government. And now we're in this position where Doge is looking for solutions to these governmental problems. It's so damn exciting.
Really get deep involved in federal to focus on how do we bring our protocol and the best of breed type of scalable data solutions to some of the hard issues that the federal government is seeing. And it hasn't been an easy road. But we did create a program called Iron Spider that is bigger than Constellation. And that's why I love being here, is because I've already spent the morning going around saying, hey, I can get you involved in federal if you're interested, because we believe that there's not one blockchain or Web3 solution to rule them all, but that there's an opportunity for these best of breed solutions to come in for the use cases that are specific against the large.
And if like where he's saying that he always says he doesn't believe in one chain to rule everything. He believes in some like collaboration. But if you like XRP, if you like HBAR, if you like Quant, Morpheus Labs, I'm sure there's probably 2 or 3 I can't think of. Like, all these guys are working with Constellation. They all have relationships together. They're all working together. So if you see value in any of those other networks, they see value in Constellation. So that should be a signal to you that you might want to be looking at this, at least, and paying attention.
Largest customer in the world, which is the Department of Defense. I'm very, very proud of our team. I'm proud of the decisions we made early on in this, what is somewhat of a nascent industry still, that we've secured our place at the table of being one of the most, if not the most awarded blockchain company in federal history, which is awesome, right? It's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, but at the same time, like to be able to go around to people like, yeah, we're actually doing stuff that's making a real world impact on these use cases. is just awesome.
Now I know you guys.
Like, it's crazy. Constellation was born in America, works directly with the Department of Defense, the Air Force, works with the National Digifoundry and Common Crawl. And then with all this American blockchain hype that's going on, they're never put on any American list or made in America list. It's like so freaking weird. And even the Department of Defense have declared them mission critical. And they're still like, whether they're being overlooked or ignored or not shadow banned, I don't know what the word would be, but just like held down is bizarre. It is super strange what's going on.
Have, you know, crypto and digital assets, blockchain. This is a space where a lot of people talk about doing a lot of things. You guys are actually doing a lot of things, even demoing, you know, use cases to the government. And I would love, maybe, I know we can't get into the weeds with all this stuff, but maybe just an overview of like, what is some of the feedback that you've been getting when you showcase how data on the hypergraph and on what you guys have built can really be leveraged from the provenance standpoint, from the tracking standpoint, to make sure for security purposes that the data is like real. What's that feedback you've been getting from these government entities, like the top brass, I guess I would say?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we look back in history, you know, IBM was one of the first to get into federal. They have, you know, they partnered, of course, with the Linux Foundation with their Hyperledger Fabric contribution. That became a huge effort known as TradeLens within supply chain management within the federal government, but it fell short, right? I just had a meeting with a tier one systems integrator, and they're like, yeah, we worked on that, and it just wasn't enough, right? And that was a lot to work against, because the government's sitting there thinking, hey, if IBM can't do this, who the heck are these guys, right? So it took a lot of education and proof points to say, let us just prove it. Like, we can put our money where our mouth is. And, you know, those that have been following this, October of 2022, we were validated by the Air Force Research Laboratory as scalable, secure, and DoD approved. And to just kind of give a little leak here, we recently just had another big approval. We punched through another big milestone as a company by doing these demonstrations, by showing them things around using different vernacular, which I know sounds weird, but we don't use words like wallet because they start thinking of cryptocurrency. We, you know, the key signing, or, you know, whatever we want to say that is not that. But they're interested in things like secure information sharing and trustworthy AI, IoT sensors, data sharing that's autonomous, right? But I'm so thrilled that we finally have gotten their heads wrapped around what it means to have a decentralized network working for them that they can wholly own, that we're not doing it as a software as a service pass through, that we see the data or we see all that sensitive information. They own it. We just support them from the sideline. And we're looking to go DoD wide with this. I mean, that's my vision in this, is not only to create Iron Spider as this evergreen program for Web3 solutions to flourish within government beyond just Constellation, but to truly become a standard on how these government agencies not only communicate data with each other, but
not only did he write this Iron Spider standard for the DoD, he also wrote this standard for autonomous vehicles. And I don't know how the data works for them. I don't know exactly, because it gets really deep and boring. But Ben is always writing these deep articles. He's creating the guidelines that all networks will have to align to. So it's like, you have an opportunity to be with the guy, to be in the network that this guy is actually in and supporting. It seems mind-blowing to me how Constellation is still so incredibly undervalued.
with their porous environment of contracting partners.
100%. I think one of the other interesting initiatives that has kind of shaken out over the past 6 months has been the National Digifoundry, NDF, and the work that Kevin Jackson is doing through Forward Edge AI. And I think what's really interesting there too is it's a little bit of a sandbox environment for these government entities to kind of really test out DAO initiatives.
So the National Digifoundry is like basically like a government blockchain group, and they are working directly with Constellation and only with Constellation, and they just launched their own L1 on top of Constellation Network, and they're like about to send, or they're going to build a space station in space, and somehow they're using Constellation to track and secure all the data that's being sent from the space station and back and forth. It's crazy. Like, it's unbelievable what's going on in this place, in this network.
Sure. You've got entities like the U.S. Department of the Treasury, you've got NASA, you've got Space Force, you've got IBM. How are they kind of leveraging? Like, it's crazy for me to think that, like, I know they don't like using the term wallet, but they're using a Stargazer wallet.
Right, right. Well, I mean, so that's what makes this group, the NDF or National DigiFoundry, so special is, look, we're all gold panning, right? That's what everybody in this room is doing, is they're shuffling that pan hoping to find gold because we're still in a very antiquated industry. And so I've gone through a bunch of consortia, I've done a bunch of DAO stuff, and a lot of them are just hot air. The NDF was a big nugget of gold, right? And for them to have a focus on digital assets, that's their way of not having to use the word cryptocurrency, which is kind of the boogeyman, but digital assets and the cross section between these federal agencies and industry to come up with solutions that really do have true potential use cases in the real world. And we're seeing it happen so fast right now. It's really refreshing. I mean, to your point, all of these agencies that join the NDF, any company, whether it's federal or commercial, they have to use, and I don't want to say have to, they get to use the Stargazer wallet as a way to interact with Web3 solutions.
So the Stargazer wallet is the wallet of Constellation Network. And the NDF is like a group that's like, I think it's $1,500 a year to join their group. And that's like a base layer. And maybe it goes up to like 5 or 10 grand. So these are big players joining the NDF.
Like a custom NDT token that the NDF has created to transfer it amongst each other. And to me, that type of exposure and hand-on practicality that we're seeing with companies like NASA, and Space Force, I mean, it's a dream come true.
100%. I think what's been interesting too is like,
How is
we've
this
had the
token
opportunity to
250
talk
million market
to,
cap?
people that are, kind
How is
of
that possible?
in the weeds on Capitol Hill that are saying, there are kind of these bureaucracies in place. There's these people sitting.
Like in my mind, this is already a top 5 crypto, minimum top 10 minimum, but it's a top 5. What other chain is actually being used like this? I don't know any. I can't think of any. I mean, Ethereum and Solana, yes, are being used, but it's retail DeFi. It's just meme coin trading. I mean, it's not legit government function going on top.
In these kind of positions of power that are kind of making the decisions. And really it comes down to, if you look at the United States, why, what can we leverage blockchain technology for in a way that really moves the needle for US, the economy?
Yeah.
And you think about things like disaster and climate change. You think about all of the work that the NDF is doing. There's these like actual use cases that are being tested out that can, kind of really move the needle. When I look at the Constellation ecosystem over the past 6 months, and even over the past year, there's been a ton of initiatives that seem to be coming about that are all going to play into each other. You've got National DigiFoundry and the DAO aspects. You've got the bridge aspects between Ethereum and Solana. You've got Metagraphs. You've got, there's almost too many to name at this point. The Enterprise Advisory Board. When you look at all these things tying together, something like, for me, it took a couple months, but a light bulb moment almost went off. And it's like, oh my God, this ecosystem is going to look totally crazy in about a year or so. Like, how do you envision these things tie together in a way that's really going to kind of move the needle from an impact standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Those that follow me in the community know that last year I kept saying 2024, we pour concrete. This is the year concrete is poured. Meaning we've been doing a lot of experimenting, trying to find that gold panning thing, right? What are the hot spots? What's taking ground here? And it's not just something that we can affect, right? We can't just force adoption. There's a lot of things that have to come together, like folks on the Hill that are making these big decisions on regulations and compliance, the ETF stuff that just went through, all of this garner support, which really comes down to one major thing, which isn't profound by any means, is trust, right? Now trust is starting to happen. People are not scrutinizing Constellation because we've already earned our stripes. And with the launch of Metagraphs that took place in Q4 of last year, now the soup's on, man. Like people are coming.
Metagraphs is basically just an L1. So you can launch your own L1 on top of Constellation Network, which they call an L0 because it's like the base layer, the underneath. And so you can launch an L1 like you could build an Ethereum on top of Constellation Network, basically. And that would be called a metagraph in their terminology.
To us, they're starting to build, they're starting to challenge us because they're building beyond where we've even seen with our network before, which is super refreshing and awesome. I've said many times the future is microservices, micropayments, and microinvestments. By changing the pipes using blockchain and fractionalizing money using digital assets, the whole world has a chance to adopt new use cases that is going to leapfrog things that we don't even see as roadblocks today because we've gotten so used to the status quo. So I believe like one of the things that is topical this year, because we're in an election year, is there's no reason we shouldn't be doing voting on blockchain right now. KYC, lat long, put on appended to a ledger. You know, you sign on it. We now have real-time visibility into whose vote counts where. And I know that that's controversial and they probably don't want that because we kind of live in a shady world, but it's right around the corner. And so I think the future is really bright. And it's so nice to see these scrutinizers now that have gotten into the buy-in and they're not trying to kill it anymore.
I think what's interesting is when you think about trust, you mentioned trust. I've got to imagine it's a hugely kind of huge value proposition as far as metagraphs, where you can go to these entities, you can say, hey, do you trust your current code base and current code logic?
Right.
You can just literally implement that within a metagraph, and then you can plug and play areas of blockchain in ways that make sense for you or your industry or your entity. Maybe talk a little bit about that. We talk about programmability all the time in this space, but I don't see a lot of it actually happening.
Sure.
That is like true programmability. It's like, hey, you have the security of your own code base, but then you can really manage compute, and you can manage the things that you can do with your own code base by injecting in the blockchain technology.
You know, so one of the primary use cases around secure information sharing that we're doing with the government is really
one of the biggest plays, or the biggest play that DAG is doing right now, as he's saying, is this secure information sharing. Is basically when data gets sent from one place to another place, when it gets sent from point A to point B, DAG is able to verify that the data has not been changed or corrupted on its journey from point A to point B. So as an example, if there's a man on the ground and he's sending some details or some coordinates to a helicopter in the sky, they can confirm that the message was not tampered with in any way once it went to its desired endpoint. So you can imagine that's very valuable in a military sense and very valuable in many senses. So that's DAG can do many things, but that's been its like big claim to fame and why the government has adopted it currently.
simple. And this is where we've broken through, is trying to simplify this stuff. Is, hey, you have your existing portals and websites and apps. All you have to do when you're sending sensitive information that may be top secret is you have to sign for it. It's collected by the key signature. They sign for it. Their identity access management credentials are appended to our blockchain. All of that is then sent over to the other operator that receives it from a secure information sharing perspective. Once they accept it, it runs a quality assurance on that data instantly to make sure it hasn't been tampered, spoofed, or messed with, or corrupted in any way. It's really beautiful. And all it is a check mark. You know, that's at the end of the day. Like, we're not trying to rip and replace or have some crazy overhaul on workflows. But I always said,
and all of this happens in real time. Like, this is just a streaming of data. There's no, it's instantaneous. You know, it's pretty incredible. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand, I can relay the information that I've learned, but on a technical basis, I have no idea how it works.
I wanted to be like the Intel Inside sticker. You know, you remember they had those stickers that said, hey, this has an Intel chip on it, so people saw it and they bought it. We want to be a data pipeline check mark that, hey, if it doesn't have that Constellation check mark, you can't trust it. But if you do, we're good, right? And we offer the tools openly that if you want to play the movie backwards or look at the math or dig deep into the data to prove that it is what it says it is, even though you don't have to do that, we offer that level of visibility in real time, which is a cool thing.
I think that's interesting too. One of the AI has been around for decades, obviously. But when you think about AI and blockchain, what's going into these large language models? Like, what data is going in?
Right.
And to verify the data on the front end and give it kind of that trusted authenticity stamp of approval becomes then really valuable as it goes into these like models, as AI becomes more and more widely adopted. Constellation Network's been doing DPIN before the term DPIN existed.
I didn't even know what DPIN was until I was like, what is DPIN?
I know you've been walking through and you see DPIN everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's interesting kind of being at the forefront of all of this stuff. And I'm sure it's got to be pretty crazy to see a new term kind of being phrased when you guys have been doing DPIN through, Door Technologies for years at this point in time. Benjamin, I would love if you could maybe just walk us through. There's been so many things. What are you most excited about within the Constellation ecosystem moving into the future here?
I'm most excited about the stakeholder economy. That's why DPIN, it means a lot to me and something we've always believed in. And so people don't know that Web3 really is the internet of value. And I'm very passionate about people. I want the wealth to be shared. And I think we're starting to see that take place with Web3 technologies. And man, if people can leverage, I've often said, like, with say healthcare data as an example, I know it's not DPIN, but maybe you have a single mom that has 3 kids and she can barely pay her rent, but what if she has an ability to just take her digital footprint in which she's already acting today to garner some cryptocurrency to help pay for her life versus just being this ping pong ball out in the ocean, which I feel like we're often at the behest of these large tech companies, and those tides are changing. And I just am so proud to be part of a movement that's enabling that for mankind, while ideally making America a safer and more secure country with the way that we're doing our stuff with the DoD. So that's what excites me, man, is just, and the collaboration, meeting cool people that are excited about this esoteric world we live in. It really warms my heart. So, and the last thing I'll say is on that AI stuff, really powerful stuff. I don't know. I saw recently that if you ask Google's AI how many rocks you should eat a day, it tells you, oh, you should eat at least one rock, you know? Like, that's how bad this AI stuff has gotten, is that the hallucinations of these large language models are to the point of being dangerous, right? And it's kind of like trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, it's out there, man. And so I believe that that check mark of, like, you know, a lot of people don't know that, you know, 60% of the internet is like bots, and like half of those are malware. So we already live in a world where nobody can even trust the internet. Now, when we bring in finance and sensitive data that really is important to the person, or AI algorithms that are telling you to do something that could be detrimental, trust is imperative. So we're in an exciting time, but really a lot of things I think are going to converge over the next 18 months. I think this is the hot zone.
Well, I am super excited to hopefully have the opportunity to, you know, talk to some of the federal entities like over
Sure.
time. I mean, I know in closing here, I've mentioned to a couple people, I think that we're trying to work on a United States Department of the Treasury space, and people are like, oh my God, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, that was because of the work that Constellation, the infrastructure and the technology that you guys are building. I mean, it's moving the needle. So I really, really appreciate the time today, Benjamin. It's been an honor having this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to future ones.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm so freaking bullish on DAG. I really am. I think it's going to a mega pump. I think we're going to be a multi-billion-dollar network. This is not financial advice. I'm a cartoon monkey, obviously. Reasons why I'm even more bullish on it than I was before. Their DEX called PakaSwap is going to be launched in, it's supposed to be Q1 of this year. So that is coming very soon. And now we got freaking Doge, right? We got freaking Doge. We got the freaking right White House, who is ready to get involved with crypto, is pro-crypto. So we know this is occurring. We got Doge looking for solutions. We got DAG, which I think is the only network that I've ever heard of, at least a public network, that is approved, that is DoD approved, that is approved to be used, that is considered mission critical. And it took years to get that stamp. Like, even if HBAR or AVAX or Algo could be helpful for these type of situations, they haven't gone through all the testing. They haven't gone through all this approval process. I mean, it's possible that Trump or Elon could just say, hey, we like this, approve it right away and fast track it. But Constellation's already there and has already gotten all this shit done. And then we got the Digital Chamber is a group, is like a governmental group. I don't want to say governmental group. It's a group that interacts with government agencies and Congress members to help educate them about blockchain and the digital asset space. The Digital Chamber is works together with Constellation. They are part of the Constellation group. And so we got White House meetings and freaking Constellation is there. Here's Ben. This isn't Benjamin Diggles. This is Benjamin Jorgensen, who is the other co-founder, one of the other co-founders of Constellation Network. He's right freaking there, front and center with this damn group in the White House. Then we have another situation. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it too quick in here. But they just had a meeting with Doge, and I think Elon was there as well, as possible solutions to getting all this treasury spending on chain. It's like, holy shit, holy shit. I don't know what other coin is going to be used. I don't know what other coin is ready to take over and to support Doge and to support any other government agencies with their blockchain needs. So I'm super freaking pumped. I'm super freaking bullish. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything you think I'm missing, let me know. If there's any projects that you see that have the same ins or the same potential to take those Doge contracts, let me know, because I don't know it. And I would love to know more. I keep buying DAG. I keep freaking buying DAG, especially the last 2 weeks. My DAG bag has increased dramatically during this downturn, because I can't stop myself from buying it. I'm buying Constellation Network and I'm buying Most Elegant Monkey Ever. Those are my two things. I got Bitcoin and those two things. Like, that is what I'm putting my entire belief into right now. I think these two things can run like crazy. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions for me, let me know. If you have any products you want me to check out, let me know. Check out Constellation Network, a ticker DAG. Check out Most Elegant Monkey Ever, ticker meme, for what I think is the best meme coin out there. Till next time, see you guys later. Peace. Stay elegant.